Hello, everybody. Since the museum is closed by the governor's executive order right now for the pandemic, we thought we'd bring you some of our museum exhibits via video. You have to bear with me. I am not a professional videographer or a professional narrator, so we're kind of winging this. We thought it'd be kind of interesting to showcase some people who survived the last pandemic, the Spanish flu pandemic that went across the planet in World War I. So we have one of our World War I cases. This uniform belonged to Oscar Grunau, who was from Detroit. We have a gas mask up here that belonged to Joseph Shayer, whose family is from Roseville. And then we have this 14th Infantry Division uniform that unfortunately we don't know who it belonged to. So we'll come down here, we'll take a look at Oscar's uniform. Oscar, I don't know if you can read that or not, served with the 85th Division. He was in field artillery. He's got the standard M1917 wool tunic with the divisional patches, his honorable discharge chevron. Down here we have some puttees that he wore that are actually made by a company here in Detroit. That's kind of a cool grouping. We have a fairly large selection of Mr. Grunau's uniforms in the museum collection that were donated by his family, who currently lives in Roseville. We also got this gas mask, which is the British pattern, or the American corrected English box respirator, fitting for these times. I don't know if it would be particularly effective against the coronavirus, but this was a life-saving device in the trenches in World War I. And then I kind of want to focus on this as kind of a cool uniform. The 14th Division, the Wolverine Division, was training. It was a division that was being stood up at Fort Custer during World War I. The war ended before the unit was fully trained. The division was based around a cadre of combat veterans that were brought back from France. This uniform was likely belonged to one of that cadre. It's what's often called the Paris uniform. Many of these men had these uniforms made in France before they came back to the States. They are made out of a linen. You can see the difference between the standard heavy wool uniform and the linen uniform that makes up the Paris uniform, as it's called. You will see the buttons are what are referred to as vegetable buttons. It's an early form of plastic. They are very brittle, and we're lucky that this particular uniform has all of its buttons intact. All of the vegetable buttons are still there. You can't see it, but this uniform did belong to a sergeant, and he does have 3 overseas stripes on his uniform. So this gentleman saw action somewhere and was at Fort Custer, most likely training recruits to be, for the 14th Division to go overseas for the 1919 spring offensive that never happened because, Germany surrendered in November of 1918. So that is one of our World War I uniform cases, and hopefully you found this to be enjoying and not particularly annoying, and we will hopefully bring you a few more of these as this goes on. So thank you very much, and hope to see you back at the Michigan Military Technical and Historical Society Museum once the pandemic lockdowns are lifted. So have a good day, stay healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you on the other side.